the souls are sent your way. Final peace and rest at last. 'Cause they're going down. Yeah, they're going down. You know they're going down. Yeah, they're going down. If they ever thought that they had a shot.
Hi, everybody.
I can speak now. My mic was off for a second there.
Good, I was the first person to speak.
Welcome to the 4th episode where we will be discussing who I thought was Sonic.exe, but is actually Lord X versus Error Sans. Today we have with us, my usual partners in crime. We have Noah from Fan Battle fame. We have Saul from Doomsday Duel and Saul's versus Blogs. We have Wagonworks, always a pleasure. And
Hello.
we have the pitcher of Lord X versus Error Sans. We have KM Killian from Reddit.
Hi! The young guy from Reddit.
The guy from Reddit. I'm glad I escaped the guy from Reddit. I was known as the guy from Reddit for a while. I'm not anymore for you.
So was I.
Yeah, but I was a Reddit mod.
So was I. I still am. I'm a mod on the Death Battle Reddit.
Oh, just the official
Imagine
Death
being
Battle
on Reddit. Couldn't be me.
So we have some big names. I didn't know I was with such celebrities.
Yeah, I know, we're royal.
Yeah.
And also, you did introduce, we're here with Sherm from Fan Battle Cast royalty.
Fan Battle Cast royalty?
Yeah, you are the leader.
I wasn't familiar with this hierarchical structure. Good to know.
Also,
my presence speaks for itself. I need no introduction.
And because we're sharing titles, for anyone who didn't know, hi, I'm Wagon. I'm the unofficial assistant casting director for Fan Battle.
Yes, you are that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the one who said that my spy voice wasn't good enough. Good to know.
Well, you're never getting on one of these again, Wagon. I was gonna say, I was thinking of also introducing myself, but no, Sherm did a pretty good job. I'm Saul.
Thank you.
I'm Saul. I run a
God
blog.
damn it, not again.
I think we should just jump right into it, because this one is a very weird fight. And before we actually jump into the actual 60-second debate part, I was wondering if you guys could kind of give a lowdown for who these characters actually are, logistically. I think Lord X versus Sonic.exe is the one I'm most...
Lord X versus
what's the
Sonic.exe.
difference?
For our 60 seconds, would you just want us to cover their history and their stories instead of any debate stuff?
I don't think I need to give you 60 seconds. I think we could just take 5-10 minutes to just kind of give a baseline lowdown of what we're kind of working with, and then the 60 seconds will be where the debate part starts.
Here's your 600
Okay, that's
seconds. Go.
No.
And I had a whole scripted intro planned. Ah, damn.
Do you want it? I can give you just 60 seconds to do your intro.
Read it really slowly.
I can give you 60 seconds, and Saul can just have unlimited time if you want, if that's what you kind of want to go for.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I can just do the intro when I get to that, and then I'll go into all the canon explanation stuff.
All right.
Okay.
So who is Lord X?
All right. So, do you remember your old friend from 2011? The one from that mysterious disc with that freaky Sonic game? Because he remembers you, older, wiser, and he couldn't wait to show you what he's been up to. X is a being of sentient antimatter, born in the void after a cataclysmic energy reaction brought him into being. And in time, it discovered our planet in mid-2011 and took a fascination with humanity, their culture, and came to a single conclusion. He would have them all to himself as their eternal ruler, their lord even. But he needed a vessel with which to do so, and thankfully there was one he took particular interest in, one Sonic the Hedgehog. Not wasting any time, X realized his true power, manipulating reality however he so desired, and created his own world in mere hours, but without a way for us to interact with it, he channeled a portion of his power and sought someone in our world to carry his message. With the combined efforts of an unknown programmer and a piece of his essence carried on a meteorite, the infamous Sonic.exe disc was born, and with it, X would spend the next 10 years capturing any souls foolish enough to indulge his games.
Okay, so
Oh, chills.
does this cloud of antimatter that spawned Lord X, does it exist in the Sonic universe or in our universe?
So, I will get to that in more detail in a bit, but the cloud of antimatter, it's not necessarily what spawned X, it is X, and it exists.
It's a true
within-
form.
Yeah, it exists within the void outside
Capital
of
X.
outside of all dimensions.
Can I ask a
Okay.
question?
Yes.
There's just like a random programmer. What's he up to? What
So
like?
yeah, X happened to
I
find
think
out.
X gave him a really good pension, and now he's just kind of like living large. He's retired.
Oh no, he's fucking dead. Yeah, like X like basically manipulated him into making the game, and then the essence he imbued into the meteorite crashed into the building he was working in and fused with the disc.
Hmm.
So
Okay. But if he needed the disc to interact with people, how did he interact with someone to make them make the disc?
Good
it's
question.
it's complicated. But since we're into it, I'll also go ahead and get like the whole canon things situated. Sherm, if you could please pull up Xverse timeline.
Oh yeah.
X versus timeline, you say? So
Yep.
There's a lot of pictures to run through. I wonder why.
My bad,
I
everybody.
wonder who's responsible for that.
My bad, everybody. Give a man a fish
Yeah,
and he
you
leaked for a day. Give a man a fish and rather talk about it in detail and a fish
Yeah.
for life.
So this is the current timeline as we know it from Joe Doughboy, the creator of Lord X. So as he clarified, so Sonic.exe is technically the name of the canon, but also the name of 2011, which is like the story that everyone's more familiar with. And Lord X is the future, is like the more official future variant of 2011. It used to be that it was kind of a square rectangle situation where like X is 2011 from the Lord X is 2011 from the future, but 2011 isn't necessarily Lord X from the past, where it was actually that Lord X was more of an alternate branch and 2011 was more of like a template for other EXEs, but like there's reason to believe that that's not necessarily the case anymore, but I'm not saying for certain one way or another on that, purely because we don't know the full scope of everything yet.
Yeah.
There is one thing that needs to be addressed, and that is the lack of the original canon by JC the Hyena, which has been retconned. It is no longer canon. Joe has said that it should not be applied to canon. There may be some stuff that ends up leaking through in my arguments today, but on the whole, I tried my best to keep it strictly to Joe's canon and anything that's like directly associated.
Okay. So another question: the video game that came out in like 10 years ago, probably more than that at this point. I feel like that's the piece of media that is the most iconic and well-known aspect of EXE. Is that
Yes.
that EXE we're seeing on the screen right now? Like that game is that part of the timeline?
So 2011, like that is the classic story. Yes, that is on the timeline. That's that 2011 point there.
Okay.
Since 2011 and Lord X are technically the same being, they should be comparable in terms of like what they're capable of, what they should like get in terms of scaling, that kind of stuff.
All right.
The
So
Yeah.
difference is that Lord X is older and has like better knowledge and control of what he can do.
that makes sense. I think we have a pretty good idea of what kind of Lord X has got going on for the most part. So Saul, my next question is,
Let's get more
what is
convincing.
an error sans?
Okay,
Yes.
An arrow
Enlighten
sense.
us.
I'm assuming I can just talk for as long as I need to.
Yeah, no, you have 30 seconds.
No. Have you ever done an Undertale genocide route? What if that version of Sans survived? What if he got manipulated in such a way that now he basically exists outside of the timeline? That is not Era Sans, but Geno Sans, aka Genocide Sans, named himself because he technically wasn't able to save everybody. Genosans was created from a genocide timeline. Basically, Undertale thing, you reset. Frisk would reset over and over, kill everyone, kill all of Sans' friends, reset, and do it all again. So watching your family and friends die all over and over again. Geno had enough and got himself a vial of determination from Alphys' lab in an attempt to control his timeline. And it worked, not really. He got stuck in the save screen. The place when you load up Undertale, it's like continue or reset, right? He's there with his own version of Frisk. And he took 1/9 of his soul and made an alternative version of Sans, who he is now trying to prevent from having the same fate as him, while also trying to kill Chara, who is possessing Frisk.
Yeah.
Okay. After the events of Aftertale, Sans was like, don't use that determination, you're gonna screw yourself over. Geno was like, I don't have to listen to myself, and used the determination, and fell into the anti-void. The anti-void is a place between every single Undertale AU and is like the center of the cosmology. I'll talk about that more in a minute. And he went insane. Every single universe out there gets to have a happy ending. But him, he fell into the void. Now everyone else is glitches, abominations to his true worldview of the multiverse. And he is going to go to universe to kill them all.
Wait, we've
That is a statement.
Toby
You
has
do have a
disconnected
question. Ask it.
chat, are we still here, chat? It disconnected and reconnected for a split second. It freaked me out, but I think we're good now.
Okay.
Okay, so
Alright.
yeah, I
So-
had that earlier.
Would you be willing to pull up Error Realm 6, Sherm?
Error Realm 6. You got it.
Oh.
Error Realm 6. Not to be confused with Error Realm 1 through 8.
Yes. Okay. So this is from so basically a lot of these scams are going to come from Tumblr, okay? Because the creator, Lover of Piggies, is on Tumblr and they do a lot of questions about the verse. As you can see right here, Error is a non-Undertale character. He literally exists in any multiverse and any fandom. And the anti-void is the space between all multiverses, right? That is where Error is, and he can just kind of, "Boop, I'm in this multiverse now. Bye-bye." There is another statement. I will have to see if I sent it to you, but it's basically something about why doesn't Error go to like the AUs of like the most popular guys, and it's like they don't want to interfere with their canon, right? So we're going to talk about canon for a minute. Lover of
Has to
Piggies.
happen.
Yeah, Lover of Piggies is the author of Aftertale, Error Tale, and the Ask Error Sans blog, which is where users get to submit questions to Error Sans and canonically takes place within Error Tale. There is also another character, Core Frisk. Core Frisk is, we don't need to bring up much about them for now, but it's important to note that Core Frisk and Error Sans are both canonical with each other. They both exist within each other's universes, and they have canon interactions. Noah, is that a hand?
Yeah, I'm just now noticing it says that he can connect and enter any fandom.
Yes.
Can he enter the
Oh.
Sonic fandom?
Oh shit.
Yes. Yeah, technically, yeah.
Well, that explains how the fight would start.
Well, you can say anything is canon to Ever-San, because apparently he connects to every fandom.
I also want to bring up, this isn't really going to be able to, this is going to be an image to back up my argument. Can you bring up Cosmology 7, Sherm?
Cosmology 7,
Oh.
you got it.
7? How many? Okay.
Oh.
This is Death Sands from the Undertale AU Christmas party, which is, yes, a canonical thing that happens within the Airtale multiverse by the same creator, Lover of Piggies. The Christmas party has a bunch of versions of Sans and Papyruses, from Underswap to Underfell to Reaper Tale, which is where Death comes from. Nightmare Sans and Dream Sans and all that. As you can see, it's an infinite multiverse. There are like the infinite multiverse is canon to Airtale and Era himself.
All right, then.
All right.
That is just I will genuinely say right now, we are toe diving into the cosmology and bring it up.
All right, then. I think
Oh,
that's kind
jeez.
of a good basis to kind of understand a little bit of what we're working with this episode. The thing that confused me is these are both kind of, even if they're not literal creepypastas, they're kind of creepypasta-esque characters to a certain degree. And those always kind of mess with our real world. So we don't have to answer that question right now, but a big question was, I guess, how real are these characters? Because I've seen stuff like people in the Tumblr asking, like, people who run their own AU, like, you better watch out or Erisans is gonna enter your bedroom and kick the shit out of you or something.
Yeah, so Erisans can't, like, directly enter our world, but if the viewer wanted to, they could be put into the Era world. An example of this, I probably will also bring this scan up later because it is something that I was using for AP, is Universal Destruction 1, Sherm?
Universal Destruction 1.
You're already on your third
Yeah.
image.
Wait. Wait a sec.
So this is what someone. So this is a user called Paragon who was pulled into the, who was basically pulled into the Era Sans universe and gave him a handshake and technically held hands with him for like a few moments. That's what you would look like if you wanted to be a part of the Era verse. And obviously he talks to the fourth wall, otherwise he wouldn't be able to answer questions. But he can't like. I'm gonna go kill Saul if he loses this debate. I'm safe. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, viewers. We're all fine here. But if I wanted to join the Airtale verse, I could technically enter as, I don't know, my profile picture, the Dalek Time Strategist.
All
Yeah.
right, then.
Oh.
I think, Saul, you've had enough time to give the basic lowdown. I think now we can kind of start the actual debate portion of the episode. Who would like to have their 60 seconds first to explain why their character actually wins the fight?
You can go first, Saul, because I started with like all
how
the like
nice.
canon and all that.
Thank you. Okay.
Right.
Damn it.
No, Noah. Okay. Okay. So
Whenever
when
you're
Chase
ready, I'll give you your 60 seconds.
Era Sans is a glitch. He is a fascinating anomaly who can enter any universe, as I've already said, and just can't die. So a mixture of determination and technically not having health, he is in this fight for the long run. Era Sans has so many different abilities, and he has the anti-void, his own personal domain that he can just summon around you or just teleport you into. He can interact with souls and power nullify by just gripping his strings around your soul. And I do mean strings. Oh, do you want to be a puppet? Erisans can make you into a puppet. He can summon stuff, teleport. He can see through your eyes by using his string. He can cause paralysis, absorb your soul. And he's just straight up immortal. I think Lord X is going to very much struggle in this fight when he's up against such a weird foe. Erisans is immortal, and he'll have everything that he needs to be able to drag Lord X out and make him into a puppet.
All right, that is your 60 seconds. Interesting case, a lot of cool abilities.
Smelt
like it.
in chat says, and I agree that apparently he has a domain expansion. That's my takeaway.
He predicted
So
JJK.
true, apparently.
Yeah.
All right, whenever you're ready, you may have the floor.
Okay. Lord X has a lot going for him that Error just likely doesn't have any experience or real counter to. He can't actually destroy X for good, since any vessels can just be remade in an instant. He doesn't have a soul to manipulate, but he can just as easily take command of Errors. And he can take over Error's mind. He has the ability to mess with technology and data. He can bestow powers. And he has like an ability that like basically just crushes your soul into non-existence, both like regularly and through his true antimatter form. Like this is all stuff that I don't think Air's really going to have an answer to, and that's not even taking into account the numbers advantage he has with the Guardians. This is going to be a very uphill battle for Air, the likes of which that he's very accustomed to.
Wait, he's accustomed to uphill battles?
You said accustomed to uphill battles. That's an
Yes.
advantage for me.
No, I was saying that Air is accustomed to.
That
That's a-
makes more
that's a-
sense. My
that's a-
brain did not
Oh,
understand
right,
that
yeah.
sentence.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought. too.
Air. Yeah, Lord X has never had to struggle.
That
So
a question was brought up in the chat. Can Ever Sans dodge?
Yeah, he's not limited by our gameplay mechanics of like he doesn't have an Undertale game. He's a comic, right? So he's fought against people like Underswap Papyrus and has just been able to dodge his blast. So yeah, he can dodge.
So if he's not actually in a game, how does him getting stuck in the save screen work?
The save screen is just kind of a part of the comics universe, right? Because basically, people in Undertale with enough determination can reset their world, and at least within the comics of when he's Geno, he's able to interact with that screen. You know?
Okay. I guess the question about this fight is, what level of reality are they operating? A question we don't normally have to ask for most matchups, but it's like, what is the real world in this context? Is it gonna be like Error Sans busts into the video game world that Lord X has domain over, or is it like he somehow has to interact with the cloud of antimatter that exists in our real world from the fictional universe Error Sans? How? Just like this isn't even for like debate who's stronger. This is just how does the fight work essentially.
Oh, Wagon? No, I
was gonna say, my assumption is like it would definitely start with Error like hijacking his way into Lord X's world, and then like wherever it ends up going from there.
So Lord X's world would be like the video game, essentially, more or less.
Basically, the world that X created to emulate the Sonic world that ended up becoming the video game. Yes.
I just wanted to say that the chat is saying that Error Sans does have hit points. It just fluctuates.
Yeah, I can go into that if we want.
I think we've gotten into more than enough with Error Sans for the time being. I kind of want to hear
Yeah,
a bit
no
more
worries.
about what Lord X is bringing to the table.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So where do you anything in particular you want to start with?
I mean, so if the idea is that Sonic.exe is, or Lord X is in control of the world, and then Error like busts into it, what's happening in your opinion? How's the
So
fight going
basically, the world of the Sonic.exe, Sonic PC port, whatever era you want to go with for it, that is a world that X himself has created within the Void, and I've heard it referred to as like just for the sake of getting it out of the way, I have heard it like referred to as like its own universe, which that just to set like a baseline for like universal power. And X's whole thing is reality warping, that he can basically bend the world to his whims. So Lord X will have a home field advantage and be able to modify it anytime that Air so much as tries to use it to his own.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Saul, what does Era do in response to EXE
So-
controlling the world they're in?
Yeah. Can we bring up Error Realm 1, please?
All right.
Era Realm 1.
So we're going to talk about Era's own realm. He has his own domain. Since Era can just open portals and like open dimensions to other worlds, he can enter his own world. This is Corfrisk. I mentioned Corfrisk. And Corfrisk has omnipresence. Corfrisk's whole thing is that their soul was split across infinity. The infinite multiverse, right? There is a part of them everywhere. And even with their omnipresence, Era's domain is hidden from their view. They cannot find where Era lives, which means that I doubt Lord X is going to be able, which gives Era plenty of time to do a lot of stuff that he wants.
But is that when Error is anywhere, or is that only when he's in his like hidden dimension?
Specifically his hidden dimension, but can you bring up for me, I think I labeled it Dimensional Travel 2, please?
Alright, Dimensional Travel 2.
Sorry guys, there's been a lot of photos.
Yeah. I believe you said it was like closer to like 50.
This is how Era goes into his different worlds, right? He can go from timeline to timeline, universe to universe, and it's just second nature to him. He's kind of saying there that he figured out how to manipulate the code, because the worlds in Undertale are all sets of codes, kind of like what I think you're explaining with Lord X's realm, right?
Sort of. Like, X kind of just made it like in the visage of the Sonic world, but obviously with his own artistic touches.
But it did require a programmer to exist. Like, the world is within the disc, isn't it?
Well, Lord X made the world. From my understanding, the programmer was basically just needed to translate it into a form that humanity can interact with.
I kind of want to talk about more of Era's realm first, because I feel like, even though it can go into Lord X's domain, I don't think that's really going to happen. Can you bring up, I may as well just say, can you bring up Era Realm 3, and then 4, and then 5? I'm going to need a little bit of explanations.
Alright, this is Era Realm 3.
Okay, so there's no set time system in the anti-void, right? The anti-void is a purely white space, and it's like infinite in size. Blueberry Sands from Underswap, or Swap Sands, tries to explore the realm, and it's just infinite, right? Can I have number 4, please?
Era Realm 4?
Specifically, the Era Realm is the space outside of the game, because everything is technically coded by the universe's standpoint. The void exists within the programming of the universe, while the anti-void is outside of all known universes. Because yes, also the void does exist. Kind of weird.
All right, then.
And can we go into 5? 5 is a bit bigger. So this is just talking about the obviously it's talking about the Era realm. Basically, errors are he's kind of different from regular characters. Errors are created by chance, and they're created in the anti-void. So all the choices Error makes, there is no alternate universe for those choices, and Error technically shouldn't exist. Those choices shouldn't exist. An alternative universe of those alternative universes shouldn't exist. He's basically, and the realm itself is an as casual realm. There's also, I won't
You
bring
mean
up.
like causal?
A casual, sorry.
It's a very casual realm.
I mean, it is.
Oh, yeah,
There's
it seems really chill
Yeah.
to be there.
and I want.
Ero's just a chill guy.
I don't know if I send this over. We've probably got enough of these, but basically, the person who first enters the anti-void, which was Error, gains control over that reality. He just likes to keep it nice and pristine and white. He's able to he has like a soul collection, a puppet collection. He can spawn things into there. I think it was in one of my it's literally outside of existence. We could bring up Error Realm 7, but I don't think we need to.
Alright.
I can go ahead and go into this real quick. So, like you said, Error has basically full control over the anti-void, and like it exists outside of like all universes. That's very similar to how Lord X is with the Void, since like as he created his world from the Void, that likely means that he can manipulate that itself, which also exists outside of all dimensions. Which, and on top of that, it is described as a 4-dimensional plane that he himself has explored actively.
Cool.
So I'm just trying to keep track. So the void that Lord X is in control of is the antimatter above that void, or
The antimatter basically resides in the void, yes.
can you give me just like the ladder of? I hate to say this. Can you give me the layers of the cosmology of Lord X, please?
Okay, so you have like you have like different like realities, different universes, which would include the universe that X made.
Okay.
Then you have the void, which X resides in truly.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
So it's not like the game is like him attacking from the game is like a fictional transcendence thing. It's like that's just an alternate universe that the game lets you access.
Sort of. X has very limited dimensional access. Like at the end of upon the game's completion, X is able to open an interdimensional portal to temporarily gain access to our world, in which he can attack and take your soul and bring it into his world. He can also... Remember the fucking plushie at the end of the original creepypasta?
I do.
Yeah, he can send those out as sort of like spies or cameras of sorts to observe those who play his game, and that acts as a sort of link to our world so that he can bide his time and strike his victims and take their souls. Which
Okay.
that leads us into a good transition to soul bullshit.
Oh,
Soul bullshit.
So-
what is the soul bullshit you speak of? Speak to me
So-
of this soul bullshit.
So, Lord X has full control of the souls of others. He can steal your soul. He can grant it a new body within his world, complete with the powers of the characters that he modeled them after. For example, Alan, Dave, and Paul were given Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik's forms, respectively. Actually, since we're on this topic, could you please pull up Gimme That?
right.
Right.
Give it that.
Big fan of the name for this one.
Yeah.
Give me that.
So
I like how he has
believe-
like the gloom arms from Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. X can like morph his body in all sorts of ways and create extra limbs and hands crawling out of his jaw and
Oh,
all
he's
that.
ripping the jaw off. It's not like he's forcing the mouth
Yeah, like-
open. Like that jaw is gone
Yeah, like he can.
from the body.
Yeah, like he's forcing his jaw open and taking the soul, which like he can do that. He can rescind souls from bodies and all that. And like if he gets bored of a soul, he has an ability called like where he opens his mouth extraordinarily wide and creates a black hole inside of himself that sucks out your soul. And once it's consumed, it's shrunk into a singularity and erased from existence.
Oh.
Like,
Pleasant.
gone. Like it was never there to begin with. And
So I will say this is why I'm starting to lean towards Lord X winning, is because he can tear someone's jaw off that has muscle, and Error has no muscle, so that jaw's coming off even easier. It's just this jaw that's like half the difficulty right there. That's my logic.
And another thing, I mentioned this in like the initial debate, but as a massive antimatter, X doesn't have a soul of his own. So any of Error's tricks that could manipulate souls like that he normally has wouldn't do anything to him.
Someone in chat says the plushies you mentioned have guns.
The plushies have guns.
I
Oh,
don't
shit.
remember anything about the plushies having guns.
Error Sans doesn't have a chance. What's gonna
Oh
happen?
shit!
Oh,
I'm gonna do a plushie with gun. Go.
for the Nurture special, they have a gun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I wasn't ready for that. I love that. I'm here for it. What is Error Sans gonna do against either a gun and or soul black hole?
Gun is funny. I gotta just say that. Gun is funny. We kind of need to talk about the whole Error is just he should just scale to sand stuff. Resistance 1, please. Resistance is 1, I think I called it.
Resistance 1.
So it's important to note that obviously Error is complicated. He is basically, technically, he is an extremely very strong Sans, but he chooses to fight as a regular Sans. So he has all these powers, but so I know some arguments are like, well, he should kind of just have this like very low HP. He's choosing to be like Sans. He's choosing to kind of stay as himself almost. And to explain a bit more of the soul stuff, his HP, because Undertale characters have like HP by technicality, right? They can take so many damage and then they die. His HP and his, I guess, stats by the game thing, not stats by a versus standpoint, are constantly fluctuating. So if you hit him, his HP will go into all of his directions and can even potentially heal him. I think I labeled this as regeneration. If it's anything, it's going to be regeneration 1. Yes, regeneration 1, please. This is kind of a bit more of an explanation to it. Yeah, AT Sans, which is Aftertale. He's not really as glitched as Error. He has to follow the rules of his universe. He cannot leave, and he's technically a Sans. He only has 1 HP. Error exists completely outside of every conceivable universe, and his HP is too glitched to where he doesn't follow any universe's rules. Interesting statement. I don't know how that would really affect the realm of X. It's a weird thing, and yeah, that's the reason why he glitches out all badly. Something that I do need to talk about is determination. My favorite Undertale aspect.
Determination 1.
Yes, please. It should be determination 1. So yeah, this is just confirming a determination 2, please. This is just confirming Error is Gino, and he messed around with his determination powers. He gets sent himself to the void.
Yeah.
He has canonically the most determination in Undertale, so he's above people like Flowey and people like Frisk and stuff because he used the vial to give himself all that determination. People with this determination in regular Undertale can just regenerate their souls back together, like Frisk in the fight with Asriel Dreamer at the end of True Pacifist, which is like the highest of the high you can talk about with like determination stuff.
I guess something that's weird about Undertale Souls is that the implication is once a monster kills you, it will steal your soul, is it not? Because that's like what they're all trying to do. I'm going to kill you and then absorb your soul.
Yeah. I think the graphic of the soul breaking is just like a game thing, because it makes no sense for the monsters to actually want to destroy your soul.
Yeah. So, like, the soul stuff should just also, like, trying to do damage to his soul isn't really going to be able to do anything because he can just bring it back together as and when needed, or you just end up accidentally healing him.
I think the physical damage having no effect on him is a valid point. The soul thing seems a bit stretchier to me, especially with seemingly how much control Lord X has over various souls. If it's just like, is there anything beyond standard Undertale soul destruction resistance?
Not really, because like I said, he's at the height of the determination stuff.
I guess like I know he has strings. Like if EXE or if Lord X tries to steal his soul, can he just grab his own soul back with his soul strings?
Since souls are a physical object, then yes, there should be no reason why he can't take his own soul back through his strings. I'm not going to bring up the strings because Wagon already said Lord X doesn't have a soul, but the strings are things he can fire from like his fingers that wrap around the souls, and he's able to like power nullify people with it or just shatter the souls.
What is it with all these soul stealing debates I seem to sit on?
I know, right?
Yeah, I know.
There's a lot interesting in there that like I can also bring up, like from what you said that I can bring up in regards to X. For example, actually, just to address like another image from the soul portion, could Sherm, could you please bring up hamburger sandwich?
What?
What?
Why did you name your images like this?
This one's an inside joke. But yeah, so just to briefly touch on the soul stuff one more time, X can just full on eat your soul, which again, kind of already established the black hole. Like technically he doesn't have to eat because he's self-sustaining, but he just loves the taste of exotic meals. But more relevant to what I was going to talk about, could you please bring up Kill It? So one thing, like, Saul, if I remember correctly, you mentioned that error cannot truly be, like, physical damage doesn't last.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Any of Error's, like, X's, like, physical bodies are just vessels. If any of them take, like, any kind of mortal damage, he can repair it. If his physical body is destroyed or it decays, he can just make a new one on the spot. Like, again, like, he can have his head blown through, he can bisect himself, like, anything like that, he can just, like, good as new.
So if Lord X doesn't have a soul and his body can essentially be completely destroyed and reformed, then what is like what is he? What do you do to that?
So not a lot really. Like, cuz like honestly, dealing with the physical form is a mercy because his true antimatter form, while it's physically a lot weaker and it leaves him in a state where he's acting more like a wild animal to protect itself, it is so busted because you know that black hole I mentioned?
Yeah.
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 If you so much as touch the antimatter, it's the same effect. You will disintegrate and die.
Mhm.
So, like, if the
And
one above all from Marvel tried to kill Lord X, what would he have to do? Would he have to just, like, erase the entire cosmology?
maybe, I don't know. And think of it like kind of like how Megatron's antimatter works, if you remember that from.
Well, normal antimatter doesn't destroy the soul, but it seems like this version of
Mhm.
antimatter
Yeah,
does.
Yes,
Uh,
like you get what I mean though with the comparison.
Again,
And that's not even going into like all of X's really esoteric stuff. Like obviously he has like elemental manipulation, like fire, darkness, and all that. He can fly and teleport. He can create illusion, like shadowy, illusory copies of himself, which could trip Error up. He can mind control anyone who has evil in their hearts. So that's not gonna help Error. Uh, he like he can fuck with files and all that. Like he can give life to the lifeless, where it's like animating statues or making zombies. Uh, and like on top of that, I mentioned this in the initial debate, but uh, X also has a cadre of 7 guardians that are effectively extensions of himself combined between his own power and human emotions, who are basically there to watch over his world and cause havoc in ours by manipulating our emotions, which include prayer, disgust, joy, rage, despair, fear, and desire in ascending order of power. Actually, for an example of one of them, Sherm, could you please pull up Determination Joe?
I don't like this image.
Oh.
So this was
Oh.
yeah.
what am
So
I
this
looking
was
at?
Why is this
So-
relevant?
So, you see that figure up there? That is a younger version of Kyofu, the guardian of fear. He is he's able to basically act as a bogeyman and manipulate nightmares into reality. This is the kind of stuff that he can do. There is still a guardian stronger than that, and X should be stronger than that. Like, this is the kind of reality warping bullshit that you can expect. And on top of all that, like it it does get crazier in terms of like power and all that, because there is one other guy that uh Lord X should definitely scale to. I know that the blog brought him up as potential support, but let's talk about another guy named EXE, which is by technicality Lord X's rotten, ungrateful fucking son that he hates.
Oh?
Could you please pull up Rotten Boy?
Rotten Boy. That was my nickname in high school.
How did you get that?
Yeah, this is an official image.
She's just an asshole.
Yeah. So EXE is one of X's earliest creations in terms of experimenting with creating new life from his matter. He is dark, cruel, and crooked. He's hellbent on conquering all and subjecting vengeance upon those who have wronged him. He fundamentally disagreed with X's ideals, and he subsequently rebelled to overthrow X. But
X has
X is-
ideals?
basically conquering humanity.
Oh, okay.
So
But
EXE is a good guy?
no, he's not. So
You said that. You
EXE
said that like you.
decided that it was getting in the way of his fun and banished him to another universe. And like it wouldn't be in character for him to bring EXE in as support, but he should definitely scale to EXE, who is stated that, quote, if EXE were to permanently enter our reality, all would be lost, and every world and every universe beyond it would be doomed.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
So-
X should not just scale, but upscale to that. Which brings me to like probably my last image for now. Please bring up Unlimited.
Alright.
So this is
yeah.
quote from Joe's Twitter, which first of all,
What does limitless abilities even mean?
so first of all, from what one of the readings I get from this is that like power scaling and all that isn't necessarily being factored into the creation of the story, which based. But what it means for this conversation, like the focus at the bottom, there is no power level for X because it's not relevant or something that can be measured or compared. What that basically tells me is that if there is an upper ceiling to X's power at all, we haven't seen it, and it is far away. So anything that I bring up here is pretty much nothing in comparison.
Okay. Now this is interesting because what you've displayed is the power of Lord X is very impressive.
Yeah.
But I do think Era Sans potentially has some interesting survivability arguments. So I guess like my question is like, Wagging High just laid out the law on why Lord X is kind of OP. What's the counter for this?
Get everybody get your horses and open Cosmology 1, please.
Oh,
All right.
oh shit.
Oh, brother!
Cosmology 1.
Cosmology lost, actually.
Aerotale exists on Dimensionality. The third dimension, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, the sixth dimension are not included in the scan because of snipping tool. The seventh dimension, the eighth dimension, the ninth dimension, and the 10th dimension. We, as in all of us in this call, are 10th dimensional beings.
Oh yeah, more buffs.
Good to know.
No.
Shit!
I'm not saying like when you get to the end of the segment, when they're talking about 10th dimensional, they're like, you, the reader, you're 10th dimensional,
Our
right?
version of 3D is their version of 10D.
So the third dimension is a regular
love
timeline
candies.
with regular time flow. So a comic, a fanfic, a story, that's what the vast majority of people are in. The fourth dimensional are the resets and the loads. If you're able to change the past on this level of existence, the verse would sort you into the probability version your actions have caused, which means you've changed the timeline. The fifth dimension is the past, present, future of your timeline and all of its possible possibilities, which is fifth dimensional. A single AU cluster of infinite possibilities, all connected by a certain constant. For example, monsters are in space, which is the outer tail concept, right?
Yeah.
The sixth dimension is the past, present, and the future of your timelines, and all of the infinite possibilities, as well as infinite parallel alternative versions of your timeline. And that's the void. And
oh shit.
I don't have this statement on hand. Sorry about this. But I'm getting mixed up here. Corfrisk is a seventh dimensional being, directly called by the creator, seventh dimensional. I think I should be able to pull up I can read out if we want the statement.
Now I do have a question about this version of dimensionality and characters being that dimensional. Are they saying that Corfrisk, who is seventh dimensional, qualitatively is more physically significant than the entire sixth dimension? Or is that just saying, like, he lives in the seventh dimension?
I would say arguably a bit of both, because technically with Corfrisk isn't. They're everywhere. They're omnipresent, and they kind of project the body downwards, right?
Interesting.
There's something I need to bring up later, but can we bring up Cosmology 2, please?
Alright.
Yeah.
Cosmology
And
2.
he's an expert.
This is basically backing up that there are infinite realms and infinite possibilities within the Undertale AU multiverse. So basically, Era is showing Blue the alternative universe, and he says it's pretty much impossible to count them all. Every decision we make sprouts a new universe. Likewise, every conceivable version of us exists somewhere, which is which is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the fourth dimension? That there's an infinite amount of?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. I wish I could keep that dimensionality
Okay.
on the side here this whole time as you bring up other pictures for context. Okay. Cosmology 3?
No, can we skip the Cosmology 5, please?
Cosmology 5.
Because, sorry, I have to skip around here because it only makes sense for this
No, yeah,
I
argument.
feel that.
The entire multiverse is six-dimensional.
Alright.
Yeah. As you can see, the critic's like, don't you mean to write 70 in the top corner? I mean, isn't multiverse about the sixth dimension? Well, this is probably the most important part of this need to see long explanation. This is where most people stop when it comes to the multiverse. So basically, this is like the through line of the multiverse, right? This is the dimension you should stop at, the multiverse. Can we bring up Cosmology 6, please?
I keep wanting to click on Error Realm 6 instead.
This is what you look like if you're seventh dimensional.
So, like, all the multiverses are, like, overlapping.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And this, so, like, yeah, it's loosely based on the multiverse theory, right? Take it how you will, but it is exactly, like, this is supposed to be the multiverse theory, right?
Alright.
And also, like they're saying here, like if you say that you're merely describing, like if the multiverse is code, for example, if you're saying this, you're merely describing one of the countless alternative versions of the multiverse, and you are still inside the 60 code. So it's like a multiverse, then you, and then there's an entire multiverse above you with different possibilities, infinite possibilities, and then where Corfrisk and Era are. Basically, I don't know if I have it in here, but there's a question like, can anybody kill Corfrisk? And they're like, not really, because Corfrisk exists in every single multiverse. They're omnipresent, right?
Okay.
Hard to kind of kill, and they're technically outside of this multiverse. And they bring up, like, Era should be one of the only characters who is able to kill Corfrisk.
So
I
Error
didn't-
can kill Corfrisk.
Yes. Who is a
Who
7...
exists across the seventh dimension.
I also want to say it's not 7, it's 7.5.
What?
that?
How do you have,
What the
how do you
fuck?
have half
That's
of a
not how this
dimension?
works. What's a half a dimension?
Yeah, like, what the hell?
7.5?
I was with you all this way, but this is where I draw the line at 7.5D. Hang on a second. What do
Yeah,
we do?
hang on. That's not a spatial dimension.
I don't know what the Corfrisk creator was cooking. They were cooking absolutely nothing.
What they're cooking is
What
that they
is that?
don't know how spatial dimensions work.
But this isn't. But this the thing that you see on screen and the Corfrisk statement aren't by the same creator, so you can't really use it to discredit this version of the multiverse because it's by an entirely different creator.
Alright.
Oh.
So I will say this version of higher dimensional does seem very valid because it is very explicitly talking about like mathematically higher stuff.
Yeah. Also, there are 2 instances of Error being stated to be able to affect the multiverse, right? I can go into universe
And
stuff.
this is the multiverse they're referring to, the seventh dimensional
Yes.
construct.
Same creator. So can I bring multiverse? I think it's called Multi-Destruction 1.
Multi-destruction 1.
Hmm.
Multi-destruction. You don't have a multi-destruction 1. You have
Uh,
multi-1.
I have multi-1, please.
Multi-1.
Time one.
So basically, this is a ghost version of Toriel and Sans. Ghost Sans comes in and he starts talking about a second anomaly in the area and a strange premonition of disappearing chunks of data in our universe. Before all reports end forever, is that you? Why are you here? And of course, it is him, as you might imagine, because he is Era Sans. So he has the power to disrupt the entire multiversal cosmology, right? There was also, I didn't get a scan for this, but the whole thing of Gino using his determination stuff was to destroy all timelines.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is also, it is one of the determinations. I want to say determination 3, please. Determination 3.
Determination 3.
When people who have the power to reset the universe use that power, the world/universe is literally destroyed and then remade at the moment of the player or Frisk or Chara choose to go back to. This can be at the start of the game or at the very last time the player saved or after they die. This is something consistent within Aftertale. Basically, one of the main reasons why Gino can't do anything is because that version of Chara is even above him. A bit weird. It's the reason why he can't like reset and stuff. Basically, determination in Undertale is kind of a thing of the person who has the strongest determination gets control of that world's powers. It kind of, I think it happened in mainline Undertale because Flowey was able to reset and all that, and then your human falls, and he's like, "Oh, like I can't do it anymore."
So is this the idea of like the power of a human soul that it can like literally like stop time and forcefully go backwards, which causes the timeline itself to
Collapse.
fall apart until the point of reset?
And we know that this can happen even with beings who have their souls completely destroyed. Because I know we talked about the soul shattering thing, but Aftertale Frisk, not Aftertale Frisk, Aftertale Sans kills Aftertale Frisk and shatters their soul on, I think, at least 3 occasions, and they're able to reset. One of the most notable instances is basically when Sans is remembering all about his history, he's sitting in the bar with Grillbees with Frisk, and they're like, "Do you remember all of the resets?" And Frisk is like, "Oh, so you remember that? Oh, I loved killing you. I loved killing your family. I'm going to kill everyone again." So Sans just kills and looks to Grillby and is like, "Oh, you're not going to remember all of this." And their soul is destroyed, right? And he just resets. Not him. Well, they. Because it's literally someone possessing someone else.
Man, I really thought Lord X was gonna clean sweep this, but I really don't know anymore.
Yeah, I do think like Error Sense is like way above Lord X right now. Except if there's another argument that somehow Lord X is
I
much higher.
think I kind of can, but like it's. I'll admit this is a little stretchy and kind of last minute, like as I'm hearing this. So, Saul, you were saying that basically our world is 10th dimensional, yes?
Yeah, it's like the limit to the cosmology, I guess.
Our 3D is their 10D.
By technicality, yes.
Well, remember that I said that the void that Lord X resides in, and thus likely Lord X himself, is 4D. Our 4D.
This is where the fine print is very important. Is our world in... Is our world equivalent... This is so weird because we have to figure out how essentially the franchises mesh together because... So...
Yeah,
sorry,
verse
my brain is
equalization.
not- I'm sorry. So, The
Yeah.
Era Sands is Undertale, and Era Sands world is third dimensional, and we are 10th dimensional because we are the real people experiencing these fictional events. In
Yes.
Sonic.exe world, the realm that Sonic.exe exists in is also an alternative to our real world. So I guess the question would be, when we make this fight, do we make our real world and the Sonic.exe world equivalent to the Erasan's third dimension, or the Erasan's 10th dimension?
It's a
Yeah.
bit weird, and it's a weird thing to base arguments about, because it becomes a thing of, well, technically Lord X isn't real. It's hard to. It's a weird thing, right? Because there's clearly an intention of, like, our world, as in me, everybody in this stream, and the dimensionality of our world in the, like, for example, now Lord X, when he's like taking people into his realm, that is like a fictional thing, right?
Yes.
I hope people aren't disappearing from us, our world with
I
Lord
would
X.
certainly fucking hope not.
Oh, yeah. Me too. I hope
The
not.
the 10th dimensional within the context of Erasan is specifically supposed to be us. Is specifically supposed to be the reader. I think it's a little bit generous to Lord X to make that assumption that, yes, it is the same thing as the Era thing, because the Era thing is explicitly supposed to be us. Unless Lord X has been secretly taking victims, then I'll see you guys later.
Again, like I said, I'll admit this was kind of like off the cuff as I was hearing stuff. So like I'm not actually 100% sure how much water it holds. I just thought it was interesting.
Well, here's actually where my head's at a little bit right now. The core idea of the conception of Sonic.exe and Era Sands is like, we start with the fictional worlds of Undertale and Sonic.exe, or Sonic the Hedgehog, and then like these entities start messing with the realms beyond. So I feel like at the core of this comparison, it would make more sense to say, like, the Undertale is equivalent to essentially the game that EXE makes, but that game isn't actually the realm Lord X has control over. That's just the way to interact with that world. So, to use Error's cosmology, the interaction we have with the realm is 3D, but the actual realms themselves, being 10D by Erasan standards, makes the most sense to me. What's up, Noah?
People in chat are saying at one point X became real and attacked Joe in a song.
Brother, the Friday Night Funkin' stuff. All right, let me just go ahead and let me just put the fucking kibosh on that. None of that is canon. I am not taking any of that into account.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, so we can disregard that.
So,
from everything that I have heard from this debate, though, I think regardless of where you come down to in terms of like cosmology and dimensionality, this is ultimately a hacks off kind of. So it really comes down to who's fast enough to get their win con off first.
Yeah.
How fast is Error?
Who's going to be faster, Sans or Sonic the Hedgehog? I wonder.
Yeah. So if you want quantifiable numbers, I can't give it to you because I'm not a calca. But if you want something close, the Gaster Blasters within the context of Aerotale are specifically referred to be like laser light type beam shit, right?
Right.
So there's stuff like that. But I just need to go into like infinite speed arguments here. There's a couple of things I can bring up. You have him just kind of being above the past, present, and future. He is above like the time, right, of the respective verses, which I think is pretty blatant for infinite and immeasurable feats. If
Yeah.
we want to go into Underverse, we can. I think this is going to be a little bit of a because we've talked about it. Can you remember that GIF I sent you?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't
Can we put
have
it up? No, I sent it.
You did send it, but I didn't think we were gonna. I can download it. It'll take me like 30 seconds. But
That's fine. I can start talking. Basically, we've already said before that we were going to talk about other potential. Like it's weird. Oh gosh, this thing has been going on for so long.
What we were signing up for, except
Yeah.
for Noah, who just kind of kidnapped.
Basically, there are higher dimensional arguments.
I'm looking at the YouTube stream. All the videos have just cut out.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh.
What?
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Oh,
We're good. All right.
Oh.
It was just
it's probably
a second one.
it's probably because you were saving a video. I would imagine.
Oh yeah, right. I went to
Oh,
Discord.
that'd do it.
Yeah, hang on. I gotta freaking. There you go. I keep forgetting to minimize. If Discord is windowed, that won't happen. But if it's full screen, it does happen. A little behind the scenes for y'all. Yeah, but I have the GIF now,
Okay, we can put it on as the.
which doesn't show anything. It just looks.
Error sans gif.gif.
So this is the Doodle Sphere. The Doodle Sphere is a multiverse housing all the infinite amount of alternative universes. These alternative universes have thousands of timelines referred to as alternative timelines that all branch out basically on the choices on the original universe, and these timelines are all set on a loop, meaning there are unlimited actions, unlimited choices. It's a multiverse containing thousands of infinitely expanding multiverses, with every universe in that multiverse being its own infinitely expanding multiverse and on. Yeah, and Era destroyed the Doodle Sphere. That's what he's doing in his clip. He wraps all the strings around the pieces of paper, and each piece of paper is representative. Also, this is where the domain expansion happens, by the way. He takes everybody to the Doodle Sphere, and he just tugs on a string, and he rips apart these papers, right? As for speed, there's a character called X-Gaster. X-Gaster has a ability called a quarantine. And quarantines are basically they suck the fabric of a timeline into like moments. So it's sucking like the time, the space, and all that. And Era should scale because he should be far superior to X-Tail characters who can keep up with X-Gaster, even though X-Gaster's like the top of the verse.
Just a quick
So,
question about the feat you brought up. I'm gonna bring it back up again. So he's wrapping his strings around these papers. Are these papers like?
They're not paper, if that's what you're
Are
asking.
they like a weak point or like something?
No. They are just the universes. Basically,
So where are
the
they
Doodle-
right now?
they are in the Doodle Sphere, which is what he's destroying. Basically, there's this creator called Ink Sans. Ink Sans is the creator of the multiverse. Opposite to Error, those two usually get paired up together a lot.
So is this like
Oh,
By-
they certainly
by paired
get
up, you
paired
mean, like-
together.
Yes!
I'm here for it. That was my favorite part of the AU fandom. Anyway, so my
Oh,
question
yeah.
is, if the papers, is this like a new Genesis, New Gods things, where now that he's in the Google Sphere, he is the same size as
The
universes?
Google Sphere.
The
Because
Google
if this-
Sphere?
The Doodle Sphere. If he's like, if those papers are universe, is Erisand's as large as a universe right here?
No, but they contain the universes, right? They contain the infinite, blah, 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 blah. I'm not doing the entire...
So if
Explanation.
a normal Sans tried to like walk up to a piece of paper and like rip it, and he couldn't do it, it'd be like
You can't do it. No. It's expressively, this is supposed to be a massive thing here because of other people can't just destroy the cosmology. And this is, I also have to say, this version of Erasans and his like cosmological dimensionality is different to the Erasans cosmology that we brought up earlier.
Oh.
Oh.
And I know because basically, again, the Doodle Sphere and the Anti-Void, they are basically think of them as parallels to each other. They're the Sonic and Eggman, right?
Okay.
They are
Alright.
opposites to each other. They're supposed to be higher dimensional planes, and X-Gaster, who is, like I said, people can scale to maybe not like at his peak of power, but even downscaling from like a 5D feat. He's able to cause like a not like a mass blackout. Basically, it's not really a blackout. He's kind of just destroying the world of the Doodle Sphere.
The Google Sphere.
The Google Sphere, correct.
Mhm.
So what is... This is all to display, like, infinite immeasurable...
Yeah.
Beyond immeasurable speed.
Yeah.
Wagon, what do you have for Lord X's speed?
Mine's a lot more simple. So, starting with quantifiable ends, Lord X absolutely takes it. There was a calc on the Red X blog for that initial meteorite that from a quantifiable end got anywhere from 19 billion to 407 trillion times faster than light. And that's
Yeah.
the quantifiable
Fast
end.
media.
It was also listed as possibly infinite, which there's more stuff to back up infinite and immeasurable speed. Namely, again, I mentioned that before coming across Earth, X explored the void, which, like I said, is 4-dimensional and thus has like infinite points to it. So therefore, it would be like arguably infinite speed. And the quote that I mentioned earlier about X not being able to be measured, I mean, if you wanted to, you could make that argument for immeasurable speed, for the intents and purposes of this conversation. That's absolutely viable.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that seems logical.
I kind of think we're kind of starting to get the gist of our totality of the arguments out. I think I'll start the poll. Do you guys have any final arguments you'd like to make about your cases?
Can I go first?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Well, I was just checking with Wagon just in case Wagon, because I know I've done a lot of talking here. Sorry, guys.
No, yeah, you're good.
Basically, my final arguments are the main thing is Lord X can't kill Sans. Even completely destroying his soul allows for a reset to happen. So even if you're able to destroy his body and his soul, he's just able to reset and have knowledge of those events. It's something common with not just, Era Sans himself, but other Sans in the AU. Can we bring up also, I think it's called Era's Ultimate Attack?
Era's Ultimate Attack.
The Doodle Sphere thing wasn't that?
Wait, is this Ultimate Attack or Ultimate Attack / stat argument?
Ultimate Attack. I don't need... The stat argument was a similar picture, I just noticed that. Era basically has a way to nuke his cosmology. He has no intention of using it because most people can't challenge him in a threat. But in like a death battle scenario, when there's no limits hold from the character thing, he should be able to go for it. This attack eliminates any and every AU one by one really quickly. And he's used it once, and we don't actually know how everything's still standing, but he has that in his back pocket. Basically, what it comes down to, in my opinion, Era is far above, depending on what you want to get into with Dimensionality, is far above anything that... Oh, we're bringing up Cosmology back.
I'm just trying to do this for my own case. So this would be, if AUs are 5-dimensional, that would mean he could destroy a bunch of 5-dimensional... Oh, wait, but AUs are also 60.
No. Yeah, AUs are also 60 as well, and also the multiverse is 7D. This would nuke the multiverse.
Actually, it's 7.5D.
Actually, be quiet.
The class is actually.
Basically, I just think that what's going to happen is Era's own realm, he has enough time to just figure out what he wants to do. Something that's very in character for him. Even omnipresent 7.5 dimensional people like Kofris cannot access it. They cannot get in. I also didn't get to bring up some of my other points as well. which is a little bit of a shame. But there's ways
this
for.
voting can go on for like 10 minutes. Like, what else do you
Oh,
want to talk
perfect.
about?
Yeah.
I would say an error can erase people from existence with his Gaster Blasters. It's what he did to Fresh Sands, or what he meant to do to Fresh Sands. But Fresh Sands is like, have you ever seen Dippy Fresh from Gravity Falls?
Yeah.
Is it wiggity wiggity? What's up, dog? That's Fresh Sands.
Oh dear.
Why
Yeah.
was he able to survive? Was he just that epic? And
Yeah, no, that
evil?
is Fresh. That is Fresh Sands' whole thing. He's just epic enough. He's
a
like
meme.
the squirrel girl, if I can say to another character. Yeah, this kind of just all comes down to Eric can just nuke the cosmology. We have already seen multiple arguments through either his ultimate attack, the fucking doodle sphere stuff, or his regular I can threaten the multiverse, blah 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 blah. He should just be able to permanently nuke the cosmology, which I don't think Lord X has a way to come back from, and even if he does, this would just go on forever. There's no way that Lord X can put Aerosans down. He can reset. He can travel through time. Aerosans can kill himself in the past, by the way. That was stated.
Can kill himself.
A living paradox.
So,
Yeah.
Era Sands can survive his soul being shattered, but if you... this is gonna be a weird argument, but if you consume a soul and the soul is an equivalent of a hamburger, the soul will be like digested in stomach acids.
They both
I imagine a more thorough form of destruction than mere violent fragmentation.
They both go to the they basically both go to the argument that even if his soul is absorbed and stuff, he just like there's no reason why he can't reset. It's still the end goal is the soul being absolutely destroyed, right? Or the soul is in enough danger to where he can reset because it's just something he can do.
Can you reset if someone else absorbs your soul?
I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. It's still like soul fuckery.
This is more of just like a general Undertale question than an Era Sands question.
Oh right, generally,
Flowey can reset. He equivalently doesn't have a soul at all.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's because he has determination. If someone absorbs your soul, I thought they would then gain your determination.
Yeah, but I think that game, the souls in the end rebirth, so technically Flowey hasn't really have the soul in their control, you know.
Yeah, the Aerosans reset thing is like a panic button. He can just press it. Basically, I say press because technically you can have it as a physical button or it can just happen. It's just a panic button that he constantly has, and he will know the events of what's gone on. He will know what Lord X's abilities are, how to combat them, and he will eventually just nuke the cosmology.
So, question about resetting is when you reset, that is resetting a timeline. That's like the fourth dimension in Undertale, in the
Technically,
Cosmology
it's-
blog. So, what
Yeah.
happens if like the fifth dimension, everything under it is destroyed? How do you reset a timeline if there's no timeline to reset?
Can we bring back the cosmology picture for a minute, please?
Alright.
Yeah.
Cosmology 1.
Yeah.
So I know even in normal Undertale, like Asriel and Flowey can both destroy the timeline and then just
Yeah.
do it
You
back
could
after.
see like a timeline is fifth dimensional, right?
Yeah.
And then the alternative universes are sixth dimensional. So like maybe if you were on that super higher scale, I don't know, if we wanted to go into MS Paint, but I don't think that's a level of power that Lord X has displayed here in this debate.
Yeah.
Boom!
I'm looking at chat. Pin says, "Who would win in a makeout session?" To which Smelt says,
Eritong won!
"Stand as a
Eritong won!
skeleton,
Eritong
hopeless
won!
Smelt."
Eritong won! Eritong won, Sherm! You want to see who won?
No.
You want to see
Wait,
Damn it!
You want to see who wants to win in a makeup contest? Identical talent!
Why do you have this?
We
I
couldn't
would-
go an
I would-
Undertale AU discussion without bringing up the fuck-ass tongue.
Yeah, this is his canonical tongues. Yes. Okay, you get rid of the image now.
Yeah.
I marked it. I
Okay,
think I
cool.
marked it as NSFW when I sent it to Shem.
Does anyone want a chocolate bar?
He brought the receipt.
No, shut the fuck up, no.
Okay.
I also was wondering, how
This
would
is-
the Era's
This
not
is
bound
my
by the
favorite cast
laws?
so far.
Like Era's not bound by the laws of his universe. Is he not bound by the games of Lord X? Games in court?
Why do we keep going back to characters bound by games?
Because Era Sense might
It's full
be
circle.
more stronger.
This is like all the
Yes.
cast wrapped up in one so far. It's a game from
Yeah.
the first episode. It's a soul battle from the second episode. It's a horror themed episode from the third. It's all. This is the culmination, and we're only 4 episodes.
All
in.
the best parts
Hell
in
yeah.
one.
Yeah,
It's a
Vandal Cast
cheesecake
greatest
episode.
hit.
I forgot what we were even talking about. We're-
Concerned how quickly Saul had this on standby. Fuck you.
So, Wagon, what do you have to what do you have to say for yourself?
So, Error doesn't really have a way to put Lord X down. Any physical forms that Error damages could just be repaired or replaced in an instant. If you want to argue higher dimensional in terms of like dimensionality, then X should be like unquantifiably higher through Joe's statement, or even just like the X is 40 versus Error's like 70 or however, and like how they compare. He should be faster and be able to get out his win cons off first. He can mess with files and tech and all that, which means that you could argue that he has a way to fuck with resets and like Undertale mechanics. He has the Guardians who should be able to be capable of a lot of the same stuff that X is able to do. So not only Error's basically fighting an 8v1. Error can be mind controlled, even with the soul regeneration that doesn't stop X from destroying it in the first place. And the fact that Error keeps coming back is probably a really bad thing for Error. Because the reason that X doesn't use his fullest potential is because it would make his games boring. And if he finds a guy that will just not die no matter what, even outside of like him bringing his victims back over and over to toy with them, if he were to find someone that can just take his strongest and keep coming back, that keeps things fun for him. He can go all out on them, and that's gonna be scary for Error. And like also my ultimate argument, please bring up X suit.
Oh,
Is this what I think it is?
I know exactly what this image is.
What's he gonna do against the drip?
You hang and eat the drip.
I mean, let's be
Like,
fair to give him an
granted,
actual
this
drip
is
check real quick.
this is 2011, not Lord X, but he's gotta still have this in his closet somewhere.
This clearly isn't.
Oh.
I admire the aesthetic, but in terms of drip, this does not. It's got holes. It's all bloody. It looks
His
like it barely
sleeve is
fits
falling
in.
off.
Look how crumpled those sleeves
His right
are. Like,
sleeve
this
is falling off.
Yeah.
This is not.
Oh,
this is
but-
not.
yeah, it's clearly not
Well,
that
those
But
bad.
yeah,
shoes do not go with the outfit. Let's be real. The gloves, you can maybe get
Yeah.
away with it. The shoes, let's not.
Yeah.
He didn't brush his teeth.
I mean,
There's
what are
blood in
those?
his teeth. It's not. This is not. This. Yeah, I don't. I feel like this is a point against you, honestly. If this is your. argument.
But yeah, in all seriousness, like the actual ultimate thing is X's true antimatter form, because like Error can't actually do anything to him. He can't fuck with his mind because like I don't remember Error having mind stuff in the first place, but like he can't do that because he doesn't have a mind. He can't do anything to X's soul because he doesn't have one. And simply touching X's true form will annihilate him. Like, there's nothing that Error can do that will meaningfully put X down. Like, so, like you said, if this were to go on forever, it would absolutely be a better deal for X than it is for Error.
Has everyone more or less said their piece? I know there's a lot to go through, so I don't want to cut off any potential arguments.
I want to say.
I just want to say, at least for the true form stuff, my argument doesn't hinge on actually destroying the true form. It hinges on destroying the cosmology around the true form. And even with the true form stuff, Eric can fucking domain expansion, his domain, and now they're in the anti-void, a place where Error has all control over, all. Like, we've already talked about how immortal they are. I do think it's a little iffy to try, even with the Underverse arguments, the Doodle Sphere is still a higher dimensional still than the Lord X is. Does his realm have a name?
No, it's just the Void.
Okay, the Doodle Sphere and the Anti-Void, being able to destroy the Anti-Void would be way higher than what. Oh, sorry, I'm losing my voice here. I wonder why. Anything that Lord X is able to do, I don't think either of them are going to be faster, because I think both ends, for their high ends of infinite stuff, are able to be used.
Yeah, like infinite, immeasurable, that kind of stuff.
Even because I didn't get too much into Underverse. Underverse has a 225 quintillion C-verse from a low end of the quarantine calc as well. So there's ways to get Error into super high speeds as well. I don't think transmutation matters that much, right?
I don't think it would. Like, they both do. Are you saying that Error does have transmutation?
Yeah, he has transmutation.
Okay, so they both have that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I completely forgot. I mentioned this when I was talking about EXE, like how EXE was banished to another universe. He could just BFR Error.
But Error can just hop into another universe, though.
Yeah, exactly. So
That's
it
the
doesn't
whole
really
thing.
mean anything.
I was just wondering transmutation, because those are the 3 scans I didn't get to use. It's my favorite story about Error Sans. It's him transmuting the other Sanses into puppets.
Yeah.
Which I really didn't get to use.
He turned Lord X's minions into puppets. Do they have transmutation resistance?
Not necessarily. Even if Error were to take command of them, X could just take their souls back.
But there's also the thing of Error can also absorb souls. He doesn't do this because, funny enough, a thematic to this matchup, he's just kind of fucking around. He intentionally makes, because all the Frisks and all the other Sans aren't like him, he makes it harder on himself. So there's nothing stopping him from absorbing their souls, but then obviously doesn't really matter for the actual full-on debate because X himself doesn't have a soul.
Yeah.
That's why.
Noah, didn't you have a question earlier?
Did I?
Yeah, 2 hours ago.
All right, well,
I don't know.
I myself.
I
have a
read and
question.
wanted to point out a chat message. I'm not sure.
Well, anyway, I think an interesting part about this debate is the dimensional travel aspect, because let's just highball at EXE and assume that he is a 10th dimensional being in comparison to Error Sans. Earlier we saw he could pull 10th dimensional beings and turn them into anonymous white people. Can he turn? Can Error Sans turn Lord X into a white guy?
Like a Lord X profile picture on it.
Like I said, he can turn them into puppets, so we can have the plushie version. He can technically make the plushie version
With the gun, yeah.
Yeah, with the gun.
But would that work to does that negate higher dimensionality? Can he effectively turn a 10D being into a 3D being and then kill them?
I didn't really look into a lot of the higher tier cosmology stuff because I thought we already went high enough. But I know there are beings above like I think one of the beings above Gino is Gaster, where Gaster doesn't technically exist, but he also does exist. But he also technically never existed in the context of Aftertale. But he also technically and and yeah, it's one of those ones. And Aftertale is or Gino is very much explicitly able to hurt Gaster. So like maybe he can hurt higher dimensional beings. That argument is a bit more shaky.
So now that we're at the voting stage, I'm gonna make a call that we don't normally do this on Fan Battlecast. We normally like to declare one winner, but because it seems like a stalemate is a potential interpretation of this argument, and there's 4 judges, the vote, and us 3. If it is a tie, then the official thing will be a stalemate. Does that sound okay to everyone?
Yeah, that
I'm
makes
alright.
sense.
So I think we're kind of in the voting phase, and we'll just go left to right. Where do you think? What are you thinking, Noah?
Okay. I think there's a lot of variable factors in play here. I think there's a lot of interpretation stuff. I think where the fight is the big factor.
Sorry.
I know both of them can like move their domain to the fight or pull people into their domain. So I feel like the home field advantages would sort of, if they can both like force the fight to move, I don't think either is going to reliably have a home field advantage over the other. In terms of power, I do think the argument of like Lord X being able to affect real world stuff and Aerosands explicitly not is something, especially given how they're treated dimensionally. I don't know. I can see it going either way, at least from what I've heard here. I'm gonna. Okay. The chat has been full of people this entire time saying Lord X stomps, and because of that, I'm gonna go with Ever Sands.
I know. I've been keeping an eye on the chat and be like, "Fuck me, this has been an uphill battle enough."
I think
I'm going with Ever Sands.
I think that for me, there's a lot of interesting. I feel like this is a cosmology argument, but in a way that's actually fascinating as opposed to just boring. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I feel like they're heavily related to the characters, so it's not just like, oh, your infinity's bigger, so you win. It's like, let's analyze how they interact with reality more or less. I do think, based on how the characters are portrayed, Lord X's true form does feel qualitatively more real than even the Ink Sands, Googleplex, and all those various dimensions. I think that, honestly, I think the argument that Lord X would be a 10th dimensional being holds water in this context, and saying that he would be like a 4-dimensional being almost feels like you're lowballing him more than him being a 10th dimensional would be a high ball. That just, the higher interpretation makes more sense to me with how they're usually portrayed. I think,
and of course that's in like the context of verse equalization.
Yeah, I think that
verse equalization just kind of gets a bit weird when you consider like Underverse, which its dimensionality doesn't follow the same rules as the Aerotail one, because then it goes back to being like, oh, he's 5D within the context of normal dimensionality rather than 7D within the context of Aerotail, you know?
Yeah, it's weird.
I think the reason I'm landing on this is you have to look at, like, what are the anchor points of the cosmology, like, the things we can use to measure. And I think we have the real world and the game world, and the game world is nothing to Lord X, and the real world is what he's actually concerned with, which is what makes me think that I'm kind of leaning towards, like, Lord X just being qualitatively superior dimensionally. I think that soul-wise, he potentially has arguments for the black hole turning to a singularity or digesting it is a more thorough form of soul destruction than what we've seen Air recover from. I think that even if Air was able to pull him down into his dimension, I think that white guy would still be made of antimatter and would actually be bad for EXE. I'm just kind of leaning towards I think Lord X is gonna eventually pull the win. I'm voting for Lord X.
Okay, Killian.
All right. Because I'm like thinking how it could go. Like technically, there's an argument that Lord X is obviously superior in terms of dimensionality. But I kind of wonder, like, since error sense can pull theoretically Lord X into his own domain, like, does it mean that Lord X is technically powerless or not? Like, does he have still have access to his powers, or does he have nothing left?
I don't see why he wouldn't have access to his powers.
He does resist transmutation. But I don't know if this is transmutation as much as it is like dimensional flattening, however that would work.
Yeah. It's different than transmutation, right?
Mm-hmm. And there's the argument that technically Error's Caster Blaster has an existence eraser, which could theoretically erase Lord X's antimatter form, I think. I mean, I guess this could work. Now the problem is speed, which Lord X is obviously faster, and yeah. I mean, I do like Error Sense more. That's for sure. Yeah, like an ultimate attack that could theoretically kill Lord X, but I can't see really how Lord X could realistically lose. So my vote is going for Lord X.
So we have 2 votes for Lord X and 1 for Error Sands.
Oh,
Technically, one for Error Sands.
I'm cooked.
Now, is this a tie or is
No.
this a dub for Error Sands? Or a dub for Lord X? Let's find out. Ending poll. With 52%, the
Really?
closest
That
Oh,
surprises me.
That was close.
Error
That's a
Sands
surprise.
wins. Well, no,
Really?
he,
Lord
has,
X-
he has
Oh.
secured the stalemate.
Oh,
I'll take it!
I
That
So-
was not expecting the chat poll to side with Error Sands.
That
Consider-
Yeah,
the
I
Yeah.
wasn't either. I'm
closest debate
surprised.
is-
Considering what chat has been saying the entire
Yeah.
stream, I've
Okay,
been having it open.
But yeah, but the thing is, the whole reason I cited Error Sands was to spite chat for saying X would stomp, and now chat's apparently said Error wins.
Would you
Well,
like-
well,
So
no,
now
like
my
to
entire
retract your
vote
and
is
vote for Lord
irrelevant.
X instead, Noah?
You played
No!
yourself,
No!
Noah.
Let Noah play himself. It's a lot funnier than Ed did.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
I guess we stalemate.
I
I
love
guess.
that cast. That was an awesome. I had so much fun with that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too. Like, honestly, I think just the insane back and forth made me really like this matchup a lot
Yeah,
more.
this matchup seems super dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me too.
um,
Me too.
Oh, actually, before we close out, I have one last image,
Oh,
just for funsies. Could you please pull up "Caught in Miami"?
oh, what's that? Oh,
Damn. God, I mean, this proves they're 10-dimensional. This is in the real world. I don't know why I didn't
Yeah.
bring this up earlier.
yeah.
I just want to say there was a message in chat like half an hour ago that was like, not gonna lie, having tentacles for tongues would be pretty useful, and sure, man.
I mean,
Um,
objectively, there would be more uses for them as tentacles than there are uses for a normal tongue. So if we get our mind out of the gutter, that is an objectively true statement.
So this is an interesting actual argument from Mary here, now that we're over with. So Corfrit's creator, who made the crossovers with Era Sans, made the post explaining six-dimensional stuff, 7.5, which Era was included. So could that work on X's true form? Yeah, maybe.
Hang on, I thought you said 7 was actually 7.5. Now we're
Yeah.
saying 6 is also 7.5?
No. They're saying that Corfrisk is six-dimensional when Corfrisk is 7.5.
Oh, okay, I see.
But yeah, that's also an argument.
Every number is 7.5 actually. Little known
I'm
fact.
fully sold on this matchup. I think it'd be super dope. I don't know if it's my favorite. You'll have to tune in for when we do that Era versus or that Red X. What the
Yeah, Sonic.exe
versus Red.
Red X, my
we'll see
favorite
which is the
Teen Titans
superior
villain.
matchup, but I love this matchup. I think it's super cool no matter what happens. Killian, I hope you're able to do your matchup justice. Do you know? Have you pitched to the Death Battle team the matchup yet?
No, still not, but I'm trying to perfect it. I mean, I'm not going to do like a perfect pitch, but like mostly perfect it. Like,
We feel that. We've all tried to do similar things with our pitches. If you need any help, we can give you a hand. What's up, Noah?
I said I haven't. I'm not pitching anything.
I was gonna say, I'm not pitching anything. Just
Well,
you, Shane.
I'm speaking for the pitchers. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
With that, I think that's where we'll call it. This has gone on for an hour and 50 minutes, but this is both a deep dive and a debate. You get the best of both worlds when you come to Fan Battle Cast. I hope you all enjoyed that episode, and we're really looking forward to the next one. Y'all take care.